All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about NVIDIA. You probably know them as the company that went from making your video games look awesome to, well, powering the entire AI revolution. But here's the thing, their story is nowhere near over. In fact, their biggest challenge, it might be just around the corner.
And just look at this chart. It says it all, right? See that red line just rocketing straight up? That's their data center business. It's the perfect picture of how NVIDIA became this absolute giant, basically by selling all the essential gear for the AI gold rush. But, and this is where it gets super interesting, there's a huge twist in the story. The very companies that are buying all those chips, the ones fueling that insane growth, we're talking Google, Amazon, Microsoft, well, they're now starting to design their own chips. They're becoming NVIDIA's biggest competitors. So, you see the problem, right? This sets up a classic dilemma. What do you do when your biggest customers are also becoming your biggest rivals? How do you stay on top of the mountain when they're all trying to build the exact same thing you sell?
And believe me, the stakes here are absolutely massive. We're talking about a company worth over $2 trillion. That's trillion with a T. And that valuation is built on them controlling something like 95% of the AI chip market. It is quite literally an empire built on silicon. So to really get a handle on this whole dilemma, we've got to go back, way back. Because NVIDIA's journey to the top of the AI world, well, it didn't start in some fancy research lab or a huge data center. Nope, it started at a Denny's. Yeah, a Denny's diner. So how in the world did they build this empire? Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. It was not an overnight success story. Not even close. We're talking about a 30-year journey, and it was packed with moments where they almost failed completely. These near-death experiences are what really forged the company.
I mean, take their very first chip, the NV1. It was a total flop. And hey, don't take my word for it. That's a direct quote from their CEO, Jensen Huang. Can you even imagine pouring everything you have into your first big product and it just bombs? That was the reality for them, right from day one.
And he wasn't exaggerating. At one point in the mid-90s, the company was, and I mean this literally, 30 days from going out of business. Just think about that for a second. 30 days. That's one missed payroll away from turning off the lights for good. The whole NVIDIA story could have ended right there. This timeline really shows you those first few absolutely crazy years. They bet big on a market that didn't even exist. They failed spectacularly, caught a lucky break, and then boom, they hit a home run with a chip that basically invented a whole new category, the GPU. But the most important thing they learned from almost dying, it was how to pivot. That became part of their DNA.
And that instinct, that ability to adapt on the fly, would turn out to be the most important skill they had, because the biggest pivot in the company's history was still to come, the one that would take them from a gaming company to, well, the undisputed king of AI.
And the key, the absolute linchpin to that whole pivot was something called CUDA. Now, what is CUDA? It's basically a software platform they built way back in 2006. You can think of it like a key that unlocked the raw power of their gaming GPUs for things other than just gaming. All of a sudden, researchers could use them for heavy-duty scientific computing.
And you know who noticed? All the right people. AI pioneers like Andrew G. They realized, wait a minute, this CUDA thing, it turns a regular gaming card into a personal supercomputer. Suddenly, you didn't need access to a government lab to do world-class research. You could do it on your desktop. This was a complete and total game changer. So get this, in 2012, and that's a full 10 years before ChatGPT blew everyone's minds, NVIDIA made another one of their crazy bets. They decided to pivot the entire company to serve this small, kind of niche community of AI researchers. Their own board actually called it another $0 billion market. They thought it was nuts.
And here we are, right back at this chart. Because this is the payoff. This shows you exactly what happens when a $0 billion market bet pays off in the biggest way imaginable. That little niche exploded, and it became their #1 source of revenue. Just incredible.
Now, a success story like this isn't just about luck or being in the right place at the right time. No, it was built very deliberately on a powerful defensible strategy. You can think of it as their 3 pillars of power.
Okay, so what are these pillars? First, you've got the hardware itself. Their GPUs are just flat out better and faster than anyone else's. Second, there's that coup to software we talked about. It's the ecosystem that everyone's already using, which makes it really hard to switch away. And third, and this is crucial, it's the high-speed networking that connects thousands of these chips together so they can act like one giant, powerful brain. All three have to work together perfectly.
And that third pillar, the networking part, they didn't just stumble upon it, they went out and bought it. Back in 2019, they dropped almost $7 billion to acquire a company called Mellanox, a leader in exactly that kind of high-speed tech. It was a brilliant strategic move to complete the puzzle.
And all of this brings us right back to where we started, the big dilemma. NVIDIA has built this incredible fortress, but now their biggest customers are outside the walls, building battering rams. So the question is, what's the next move for the AI empire?
Well, some strategic analysis suggests a really bold move. We're talking something audacious. Not just making the fortress walls thicker, but actually leaving the fortress behind to go conquer new lands. The big idea? Stop just selling hardware and start selling AI itself as a service.
And this really lays out the whole shift perfectly. Remember that gold rush analogy? Instead of just selling the picks and shovels, NVIDIA would start mining for the gold themselves. But wow, what a massive pivot that would be. It means they'd be competing head-to-head with their biggest customers on their own turf. It's a huge risk, but the reward could be just as huge.
So that leaves us with this one big, fascinating question. It's a massive strategic challenge, maybe one of the biggest any company could face. But then again, you think about it. This is a company that was born in a Denny's, a company that stared bankruptcy in the face more than once and survived by making huge bets on the future. Maybe, just maybe, this is exactly the kind of audacious bet this company was built to make.